Hey everyone, welcome to Stage Talk. We're here at the stage at Uncle Mike's, and we're here tonight, and we are honored to be joined by the talented Bryan Bielanski. He is by way of Charlotte, North Carolina, and we're just happy to have him, and we're going to have the second episode of Stage Talk. So welcome to New Mexico, Bryan. We're really happy to have you.
Well, thank you, Jason. Real pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me. I had a great time performing tonight.
It was a really amazing show. So I have to say that one of your taglines in your website, your bio, says, "If Nirvana and Beatles had a kid."
That's right. It does say that. Although lately people have been saying, actually last night, someone's like, no, it's not Nirvana and the Beatles. It's Buddy Holly and Weird Al Yankovic. So that's what someone said last night.
You know, yeah, I can see that too, but that's really cool. I just really enjoy that. So tell me what are some of your musical inspirations? What inspired you to originally play?
Well, hence the bio there. Nirvana and the Beatles were like my two favorite bands growing up. I always loved the Beatles because my parents were always playing their records. They were my parents' favorite. And then when Nirvana came out and, I got into their music, that's kind of was what spurred me to decide I wanted to do this for the rest of my life.
That's really cool. So how long have you been playing?
Since I was a teenager, so back in the 1990s.
Back in the 1990s. Well, cool. That's awesome. So you've said that you've been on 6 months on tour.
This year, yeah, yep. The tour started in March. Technically, I had a week off in between the spring tour and the summer tour, and I actually got the opportunity to go to Hawaii. But I had to get a show when I was there so that I could cross that off the list. And it was actually the 49th state that I've performed in. So was really happy to cross that one off the bucket list.
So have you hit all 50 states or not yet?
Still got to get Alaska. They better watch out. They are in my sights. That definitely not sure when it's going to happen, but it's definitely going to happen.
Well, that's going to be really cool to cross that off your list for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then of course there's the driving through Canada. So I've played Canada before in Toronto, but never done anything on the West Coast there. So looking forward to branching out a little bit.
So 6 months on tour for Bryan's Super Happy Fun Time 3, right?
That is correct. Yep. Started in March, and yep, the summer tour is actually over next week. Next week is the last week of the summer tour, and then I got a week off, and then the fall tour starts.
So where all have you been on this part of the tour?
On the summer tour, basically, it started, all the tours start and finish in North Carolina. And I went up the East Coast into New England, and then down through the Midwest, and then back up through the Midwest. Went from like Ohio and Illinois, North Dakota, South Dakota, Colorado, Wyoming, and brought me back here. And then I've also done Arkansas and Oklahoma. So quite a few states. Everything minus the West Coast. I didn't get to the West Coast on the summer tour. Did on the spring tour though. So yeah, always. And New Mexico is one of my favorite states. I think. It's truly befitting of the nickname, the land of enchantment. I love it here. It's just gorgeous, and the people are so friendly. I mean, the audiences are great. It is always I always definitely look forward to making it to New Mexico.
That's awesome. Well, we're glad you came through New Mexico, especially through our little town of Portales. This is a venue that we're, trying to get more people to come in, so we really appreciate you coming to Uncle Mike's. So, but you sound like you've worked a lot of touring, a lot of places. What's the most interesting gig you've ever played?
Oh, wow. Well, a lot of the gigs in Asia were pretty interesting just because it's so different. Done the Europe tours, but Europe's a little bit closer, more like it's kind of like America, not exactly. Definitely way more feels like, something closer to home than Asia was just so different. But once again, great over there. The audiences were great there. But probably the most interesting show I've ever done was the Thanksgiving's Day parade in Charlotte a few years back. And there was 125,000 people in attendance that day approximately. And I was on a float with some animatronic dinosaurs and little girl standing in a safari hat. So that was and it was kind of a surreal experience because I had to drive. Our last show of our tour ended in Houston, so we had to drive from Houston to Charlotte to make it in time. So it was kind of surreal because of the lack of sleep and the dinosaurs and the 125,000 people. It was a great experience though. So that was probably the most interesting.
So earlier, before you played, you were telling me that you've been in some bands where you're kind of afraid something might happen or something might get stolen. So what was maybe the hardest gig you've ever had to play?
Okay, so yep, touring with the old band, of course. Probably some of the house shows where some of the people seem a little shady, and like you say, yeah, we were talking about that before the show started. It was a house show in Nebraska, and it was a punk rock show, and my old band was a little punkish, but we were not like punk enough for these kids, and it was just one of those really like our safety felt in concern, so we just packed up and left. We we had to make the call. We hate to do stuff like that, and it's a once in a blue moon kind of thing, but nothing to say nothing bad. I've done some really great house shows, like really awesome house shows, so not saying anything bad about house shows in general, but that particular one, yeah, it was a little weird.
So you have a trilogy of albums called Bryan's Super Happy Fun Time, and this is number 3. So is this the last one? This is just a trilogy. You're not going to do like the Star Wars thing and end up coming out with 6 more, or?
Well, I've been asking people this is some of the new songs that I played tonight that aren't on any of the albums. I asked people, I'm like, well, should I name my album something different, or should I name it Bryan's Super Happy Fun Time 4? And audiences almost unanimously say Bryan's Super Happy Fun Time 4. So I think there's definitely going to be a 4, and also I'm a big Indiana Jones fan too, so I'm thinking maybe 5. I think that sounds like a good number.
Hey, cap it off at 5 and call it good and move on with something else, huh? No, I'm just whatever works for you, but that's awesome. So, being an 80s kid, I really love some of your song titles, and I was looking you up on online, and I really like the I'm Your Super Mario and the Star Wars Marathon, which you played both of those tonight. I really enjoyed those. So being an 80s kid, I really enjoyed those.
Thank you so much. And of course, yeah, I myself am an 80s kid, and yeah, I mean, it was like Mario and Return of the Jedi. I mean, yeah, it was a great time to be a kid.
So you seem to have a unique songwriting approach. So do you want to maybe give a little bit more information, kind of give a background to your songwriting approach, how you got to that songwriting approach?
Oh, well, sure. I write a lot of songs. A lot of songs are about my travels because I think it was Mark Twain that said, write what you know. So I do write a lot of songs about being a musician. But then, in a lot of the songs with my old band were kind of more like serious topics. But when I, started doing Elf Girlfriend actually was the song from the last album, Bryan's Super Happy Fun Time 2, was really resonating with audiences. And I was like, I remember recording it. And I was like, this is like a joke song. I don't know if people are going to like it. And my producer, Rob Tavlione, I got to give him a shout out. He's great. Works on all my albums for years and years in Catalyst Recording back home in Charlotte. He was like, oh no, trust me, Elf Girlfriend, that's going to be the one people like. You trust me. And he was right. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to double down on the pop culture references. And, the world's just gone through such a hectic time over the past few years. I think that people are just like ready to have a super happy fun time. So I've been trying to gear more towards songs that are just a little bit more like happy-go-lucky, make people smile, maybe even chuckle a little.
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed your show tonight, and
Thank you.
A lot of great chuckles, and you definitely put a smile on my face. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the audience of Uncle Mike's and the people around the Clovis-Portalis area?
Well, I'd just like to thank everybody here at Uncle Mike's. I really appreciate all y'all. Thanks for hosting me here. Thank you, everybody who either came to the show in person or watched the show online. I truly appreciate y'all's support, and thank you for making my first night ever in Portalis a really great night. It's definitely a really great show. I had a really great time with you guys.
We really enjoyed you, Bryan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for joining us for Stage Talk. We appreciate your time. Hope that you continue to like, follow, subscribe, and share. And keep on rocking and have a good time. And we'll talk to you next time.